Thank you for downloading episode 164 of We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Hal,
yeah?
Happy 164th week anniversary.
Thank you. You know what I got you?
What?
A bunch of new ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts that all of our listeners are going to leave after this episode.
That's so nice. Thank you. I'm going to go open them right now.
Go open them and read them. Only read the 5 stars because that's what our listeners leave us. And they know that the more ratings and reviews, particular reviews that we get, the closer we get to being able to put out more merch for them to buy and wear so they can proudly be people of the world wherever they go.
Oh, people of the world. Thank you for doing that for our 164th week anniversary. Enjoy this episode.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best donut.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Well,
Here's why I love this.
please tell me.
Is because the way that I found out what the topic for this week's episode was is you sitting across a table from me, leaning into a mic, looking me square in the eyes and going, best donut. That it was such a ludicrous giggle moment for me. I apologize.
No, never apologize for joy, Mark.
Oh, I do love donuts.
Yep. This one was suggested by Adam Burns.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank
We're
you very
very
much.
excited.
Yes. I figured this one would not be super long. I know there are a million different kinds of donuts.
Every time we say an episode is not going to be long, we go for an hour and a half.
I just think that, like, there are so many. I know that donuts, first of all, it's not the cronut.
No.
If you think the cronut is the winner, you're wrong.
No, the cronut is delicious,
it's
though.
great. It's
Yeah.
great for what it is. It's not a donut. It's like a fad food.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, to pick that as the best would be ridiculous.
Well, let's talk donuts, because we live in Los Angeles. Los Angeles has long been a mecca for donut lovers. We have Randy's Donuts, the big famous giant, the giant donut in the sky that is lampooned on The Simpsons as Lard Lad donuts.
Yes.
We've also got, there's Tang's Donuts, there's Winchell's Donuts, there's a lot of small local, chains.
Yes.
That don't really exist outside of Los Angeles. I don't even know if we have a Dunkin' Donuts here, do we?
We do. They just came out here in the last couple of years, and that's what I grew up with on the East Coast.
Right, sure. Dunkin' Donuts, when I was living in New York, are everywhere.
Yes.
More so for the coffee than I think the donuts. People just go if every corner has a Dunkin' Donuts, then every big burly guy in New York City, when he goes on his way to work and he stops and gets his coffee, he stops at a Dunkin' Donuts.
I love seeing a big burly person with the smallest possible cup of coffee.
Oh man.
Like, it's not a big gulp. It's just like
Just
a regular,
little, I got a demi-tasse. Did I tell you the story ever of, I think I've told this story on the show. I hope that it's not too many times, but I loved it. I'm walking in New York, and about a half a block ahead of me, there's this big, like, Italian, New York, Brooklyn guy.
Yeah.
Leans out of the doorway of a coffee shop, and is yelling to a guy who has already left and is behind me. He has walked past me. So this man is yelling a full block and a half to this other guy who's walked away. And he leans out the building and he goes, "Hey, Joey!" I was like, oh, this is going to be good. How do you take your tea? This is one of my all-time favorite New York moments. Yeah.
I've never heard that story.
You never heard that story? Oh, I could have sworn I told that on this show. Hey, Joey, how do you take your tea? Like, you know what? You cannot judge a book by its cover.
Hey, let me get a lemongrass chai and,
You guys got chamomiles?
yeah, you got some sleepy times?
Oh, I love sleepy time. You know what else is really good? You get an orange pico, but you don't get the kind that's got the imitation stuff. You got to get the good kind, you know?
Let me get an
Loose
oil.
leaf. Yeah.
I want an oil gray.
Yeah. Oil.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh man. Loved it. So those are the guys.
Take your tea.
So those are the guys that are drinking demi-tasses.
Stevia.
Yeah, if I just heard from behind me, pinch of milk. I don't even know if milk is measured in pinches.
Don't forget my digestives.
Oh man. Digestive biscuits are one of the great inventions that Britain ever gave the world.
What's great about them?
They, to me, are the perfect texture. They are the perfect amount of sweet. They're not too sweet. They're just a little bit sweet. And they have, I don't know if it's like graham flour or what they have in them that gives them that, like, they're toothsome. They're aromatic. They're not too sweet. I really love them. And I could eat a whole sleeve of them.
I don't know that I've ever heard the term toothsome before.
Really? I'm Italian. We say it about pasta a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means it's, oh,
It's a little al dente. It's a little toothsome.
guess where I'm going later today?
I would only be guessing.
Jennifer and I, so Jennifer just did this like strike sugar challenge for 28 days. No, like extra. She couldn't even have like bananas. Bananas were too much sugar.
Okay. Bananas are a ton of sugar, by the way.
I know. I know they are, but it's like a natural sugar. It's not a
It is,
processed.
but it's also the same amount of sugar as a Hershey bar.
True, but not nearly as delicious.
That's
if you put
true.
them together though, beautiful. I'm taking her to Italy.
That's twice as much.
Have you been to the Italy out here?
I've not been to
I know
the
one in
Italy
New York.
here. I love the Italy in New York. I've not been to the Italy here.
I've only been to the one in Chicago, and I saw two people get into a fist fight over salami. It was like the last salami. She's like, "Give me that salami!"
Did they?
It's my salami. It's like, no, it was a man and a woman. They were like doing like a
What?
like
Like a tug of war with a salami?
over salami.
Man, I feel like in a city like Chicago, you got to remember that's Hefner's hometown. If he walked by and saw two people having a tug of war over a salami, that would immediately be next month's cartoon.
Tonight we have Miles Davis, a poem by Shel Silverstein, and two people fighting over a salami while Lenny Bruce talks about it. Let's talk about donuts.
Yes, please. Real quick, though, about Italy.
Please.
My favorite place that I saw in Italy, Rome, Italy. And I was like, hang on a second, Mario Batali. Why you gotta have an Italy in Italy? Don't they have good Italian food here already? Like, did they just put the Italy from any other American city in there and just erase the word imported on everything?
Is it like opening a Burger King inside a McDonald's?
I think so. Or opening a Burger King inside the actual Burger King's palace.
I wish that the Burger King was based on like a Vlad the Impaler type ruler who was just cool.
Yeah.
Like, I turn my subjects into food.
Yeah.
You would be the sandwich.
Burger King. Let's talk about donuts. Oh, Hal is wheeze laughing. We may not be recoverable from
I'm
this.
still thinking about how do you
take your tea?
How do you like your donuts?
Glazed.
Obviously, plain donut is out.
Why?
A plain donut is the most boring because it's only good because you dip it in something, right?
No. I like I'm going to sound like a crazy person
A
to you.
plain, like a cake
A
donut.
plain cake donut, an old fashioned.
Ugh. There's a reason why it's old. You know what else is old fashioned? Everything being sealed up with zippers.
What?
You don't do that. Everything was closed with zippers, Mark. Your car.
Hang on a second.
Books?
What
Was it
year do you
closed?
think I'm eating this old-fashioned donut in? Where my books and car closed with zippers. This old-fashioned donut from 2097? Because, yeah, zippers are moving forward, my friend.
You're such a zipper futurist.
Yeah, I'm a total zipper futurist. I'm zipper punk.
It feels like something. I don't know why a plain cake donut seems like the most steampunk thing you could eat. Like, let me get 3 of my pairs of goggles down and take a look at this plain cake donut and really see what I'm about to feast on. It's so boring. I expect more. I expected for you it would be like, I like to go to Voodoo Donuts and get a yeast donut with like a chocolate marshmallow frosting and then cocoa pebbles on it and then coconut on that. But a plain cake donut? Defend yourself.
I'm not saying that it was going to be my number one choice.
But is it even in the top 30?
A plain cake donut to me is just a pure expression of simple, sweet, I don't like stuff that's too sweet. I don't like it if it's insanely, overwhelmingly sweet.
Okay.
Unless it's sweet for one reason, like it is chocolate filled or there's chocolate glazed on it.
Okay.
Like if it's just where it's like fake fruit, sugar, powder, glaze, you know what I mean? Like all those versions of sugar that don't get you anywhere. The way that chocolate does.
Yeah. Chocolate really gets you ahead.
Chocolate gets you ahead. Ask me, guys. I've had a lot of chocolate. Here I am sitting on top of the world.
Remember The Secret of My Success when Michael J. Fox just eats a bunch of chocolate and that's how he becomes the CEO of a company or whatever happened in that movie? I don't remember.
You remember Marley and Me where that dog just eats a bunch of chocolate and then dies at the end because dogs can't have chocolate?
We
just spoiled Marley and Me for everyone.
Our English lab, Cisco, who's no longer with us, Black Lab, very sweet dog.
Cisco, like the company name or like the rapper name?
Like, I think it's more like the company name. Like the Cisco Kid was what he was named for. Because my parents are baby boomers. But I would come home.
Wait, the Cisco Kid?
The Cisco Kid. He was a cowboy.
I thought that was the Frisco Kid. That's Gene Wilder.
That's the middling Gene Wilder movie. So I would come home to visit when I already had moved out here to LA, and I would bring a giant sack of peanut M&Ms with me because I had no idea that you could limit the things you were eating in a day. And he would bust in, like get into my bag and eat half of a giant bag of peanut M&Ms. And chocolate is bad for dogs.
Yeah. Well, at least there's minimal chocolate, I guess.
This is what he would do. This is how you know he got it. He would walk around going like this. And then be fine. Never he did it multiple times and lived many years beyond that happening. Like he lived to be, I want to say he lived to be 11 years old, which for a black lab is pretty good run, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
He did not die
full of chocolate.
Just loaded.
His whole body is, oh my God.
He wasn't. He was an English black lab, so he had a lot of tea with people from Brooklyn.
Hey, doggy. How do you take your tea? You want some peanut M&Ms?
So, all right. So you appreciate a cake donut. I agree that I don't think the winner should be one of these crazy ones from a place like Voodoo. Even like Blue Star makes.
See, I don't know most of these boutique shops. I don't eat donuts a lot.
Portland has a killer
donut scene.
Yeah, that's where Voodoo and I think where Blue Star are based. And here there's also Sidecar. There's I think Top Pot is another.
And these are individual donut shops, or these are small chains here?
This is like they're not chains. They just have multiple locations. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? It's not like a full.
Well, sure, like Winchell's or any of the other local spots.
That to me feels more like These don't feel like franchises. This feels like the same company has opened up like a third shop. Like Voodoo Donuts, I know it's in Portland. It's in Austin.
Let me ask you this. This is a sidebar. Do you think of a company that opens up multiple locations on its own that doesn't franchise them? Would you call that a chain still or no? Just in general.
I guess. I don't know what the cutoff is for it to be a chain. Like, is 4 restaurants a chain?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Is it
like
10?
When Dolly opened up her second salon in Steel Magnolias, is she a chain now?
I think it's just a second
Or just
business.
a second location?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a second location for your business to make it more convenient. You're widening your customer base.
I will say that the one thing I like about an old fashioned donut is that you know me. I like my history. I like my old time stuff. And the old fashioned donut, traces back to the oily koek, or oily cake from Dutch settlers, that they brought with them to New York in the, 1600s.
Okay.
First, here's a question for you. First use of the word donut, or one of the first uses of the word donut, 1809, Washington Irving's book, A History of New York, from the beginning of the world to the end of the Dutch dynasty. And it is spelled in that book, DOUGH-NUTS. Donuts.
So he misspelled it.
That's my question. Is it DOUGH-NUTS or is it DONUTS?
I think we established this in the Dunkin' Donuts Krispy Kreme that it's DONUTS. Like, don't.
We already did it. We did talk about
those
this.
two against one another. We haven't done the best donut.
Right.
Like,
the actual donut itself.
They make similar kinds.
All right. But here's the thing. We've done 164 of these and I forget what we've covered so far sometimes.
We both do.
I put ketchup on a hot dog yesterday.
What?
Nothing. Forget I said it.
Okay. So
Let's just talk about we're walking into the donut shop.
Yes.
We're looking at the baskets and we're picking our favorite donut out of that. We're talking traditional, classic, favorite donuts.
Okay. Yes. So do we count? Let me ask you this. We don't count an apple fritter? Like a jelly donut is a donut.
We can count an apple fritter, but it's not going to win. How about this? Okay, so we're going to count apple fritters. Those are eliminated.
I love apple fritters so much. I wouldn't pick it to win, but I do. I just want to say how much I love them so much. It's like, not only do you have great apple filling, not only is it great, like the glaze, like the good hard, I think it's frosted. No, it's icing when it's hard and frosting when it's soft.
One requires heat to make and one does not.
I like the kind where it forms like a shell. I think it's frosted.
Okay.
It's got the great like frosting on it, but also the cake is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And there are like bits of it. It's got that texture.
Yeah.
Like a waffle iron.
That's called fruit.
No.
Oh, you mean that on the outside?
Dough like columns, these little dough nubs. Dough nubs. The best donut is dough nubs. They're so good. I just love them so much. What about a bear claw or a cruller?
I think those count as donuts.
Like the twisty.
I figure if they're in that bin and they're sweet, they count.
So if they have a cat in the shop,
that's really nice
in the tray.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Whiskers is the best donut.
Yeah, guess what, Whiskers? You win. You know what that means? We're going to slather you in chocolate now because Hal won't eat a plain version.
Oh, yeah. You know what the best part? You forgot the best part of a great old-fashioned is that intense dry mouth you get just from the butt. Like, it doesn't even have to, you don't have to have bitten into it. Just when it enters your mouth zone, already everything dries up. Like you might as well cough up a tumbleweed.
Yeah, but aren't yeast donuts just basically glaze air?
Yeah. Like great. No, it's lighter. It's got a good bake on the outside. It's not as heavy or as dense.
I like dense. I like density. Like if I'm going to live somewhere, I want it to be population dense. If I want to eat a donut, I want it to be doughy dense.
Great. So go get a bag of old fashioned and move to Hong Kong at rush hour and have fun.
And get shoved onto the train. Oh no, that's Japan where they shove them onto the train.
Go to Tokyo and get shoved onto a train. Well, you try to eat an old fashioned.
Do you think I could hire 2 Japanese men with those big sticks to just shove donuts into my mouth until they won't fit anymore?
Sure, of course.
Oh man.
You can have whatever you want.
You know what? It's 2018. We can have whatever we want now. Finally.
Where do you sit on jelly donuts?
I don't sit on jelly donuts. The jelly would shoot out the side.
You're so proud of yourself. You're so proud of yourself. Boy, was that ever an alley-oop. It didn't even occur to me that I was doing it. But your eyes lit up. Like somebody just put a flavorless ring of dough in front of you.
It's so dumb.
You threw it down. Sick dunk, bro.
Thanks, yo. We're just going to giggle our way through this episode.
Of course.
I love jelly donuts.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I know I said before, like, I don't like them if they're too sweet.
Sure.
But
This is singular. It's really about what's inside. You could do without the powdered or the granular sugar.
I don't need the extra sugar on the outside. For me, it's about the filling. If I could have an unglazed, unpowdered jelly donut, I would. It would be just like a fruit hot pocket at that point, I guess. But yeah, I like jelly donuts a lot. I think though of the filled donuts, and this is going to be my contender. It's so funny. I know I started this with I don't like them too sweet. Clearly I was not thinking about all the donuts that I actually love.
I've been waiting for this.
I do like it. I just didn't want you to eliminate the old fashioned out of hand.
Okay.
Because I think they're tasty, but they're not the best. They're not going to win. So
clearly,
I'm sorry, old fashioned. I guess this is goodbye, old fashioned.
Hey,
you've been a perfect friend.
Old fashioned. Why don't you go roll around on a bathroom floor and then you'll have some flavor.
All right. You don't have to kick him while he's down.
Too late. I already kicked him and but it's okay. He's indestructible because it's such dense dough.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry about that, old fashioned. Let's talk about these filled donuts. Yeah, I think I like a raspberry. Like I said, I want something more tart, at least. If it's going to be that sweet, I want a little bit of balance. The lemon ones I've had are very good.
Yeah, I love lemon curd.
Like a sour cherry I've had before.
Ooh,
is great.
I like that too.
Yeah. But I think of all the filled donuts, the one that's just whipped cream in the middle is garbage. But there's another one that looks exactly like it that is my all-time favorite donut, which is the Bavarian cream.
Okay.
Which is a glazed donut with a chocolate glaze on top filled with Bavarian cream, like a custardy vanilla cream inside.
I didn't have them as a kid because I thought that the Bavarian cream looked like snot. It's the same reason why I did not like pudding. I was like, this looks like it came out of somebody's nose.
See, I love pudding, and basically a Bavarian cream is just, hey, you guys like pudding? You guys like donuts? We put pudding in a donut. Like, awesome. Great.
Hey, how do you like your pudding?
Inside a donut.
The funny thing is, I've always loved rice pudding, which is easily the second grossest looking pudding next to tapioca.
Sure.
That there is. Can't explain it.
Would you eat a rice pudding filled donut?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Would you eat a tapioca pudding filled donut?
I don't know that I've ever had tapioca pudding before.
It's fine. It tastes like you're drinking a boba tea, but instead of drinking, you're eating pudding, and there's always still those weird jelly balls in it.
I've never had boba tea either because I look at it and I sincerely think, what if this is the boba tea dealer who's like, I'm going to put fish eggs in here and we'll just see if anybody notices. Because they look like fish eggs.
How?
They do.
Do you have that little faith in humanity? No. Do you have that little faith in the boba dealers of the world?
Yeah.
Why? What did a boba dealer ever do to hurt you?
Well, Boba Fett tried to kill Han Solo. What more do you need?
It's a valid point. Nobody drink boba tea anymore.
Thank you.
You know what you can drink, though, is Django tea.
Yes. Django tea is great.
Django tea is great. It's just looking out for revenge for boba tea. Or wait, boba tea is looking for revenge for Django. I forget what's a prequel and what's not. No, Django tea just goes on the rampage and kills all the slave owners.
That is the best kind of Django tea there is. Okay, what about would a chocolate eclair count? That's not a donut.
If we're counting crullers and apple
an
fritters.
Eclair something you get at a donut place though? I feel like you get it at a bakery.
I feel like an eclair is a French pastry.
Yes.
That
it's a long doggy.
Yeah. I think that some donut makers just started making long donuts and we're like, oh, these are eclairs. And we're like, oh, you're not fooling anyone.
They fooled me until this moment.
Yeah, until this very moment. You're fooling only Hal. That is who you are fooling.
Seems like a long way to go to just Truman show me into thinking
weird, right?
Donuts.
I don't think that I don't
think eclair. I'm going to say I don't think an eclair is a donut.
I think a bear claw is.
A bear claw, yes, because you get a bear claw at a donut place. It's like I think you have to go to a donut place and it's there,
right?
But not like I know you can get muffins at a donut place. So we're not counting muffins. I know it's not 100% foolproof logic. However, it can't just be something that you would get at any bakery where they also have donuts. It has to be like what's in the general donut family,
right?
I've not said what my favorite is yet, and I'm going to hold off.
Okay.
And say I like jelly donuts, but I also think that I know that they're just too messy to eat. And because of that,
You're talking jelly donuts. You're including all filled donuts.
well, I mean, jelly, maybe all filled donuts. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a bite and then it starts squirting out the other end. And then you don't get the full donut. Like, I don't mind that it's messy. I was going to say at first it's messy. I don't like messy. And then I thought, what am I saying? These are donuts. You want to get a little it's okay to have your food be a little messy.
Mm-hmm.
But if that means that some of the food is lost, that is a line I will not cross, Mark.
Look, Hal,
Yes.
when you take a bite of your jelly donut, put your finger over the hole and it won't shoot jelly everywhere.
What guys are up in the middle, like Old Faithful?
Just wrap your fingers completely around it. So you've created a digital gasket, digital meaning fingers digital and not, electronic.
Yeah.
You've created a little gasket.
Sure.
And then you bite into that donut. It's going to stay whole. Or jab a straw in there and suck it all out.
What if
Use one of those boba straws.
what if you pierce a hole in the top of the donut
Like it's a Capri Sun?
and then take a bite with your finger over the hole and shotgun it? Can you do that?
Oh man, we got to shotgun some jelly donuts.
Shotgun a jelly donut, right? Who came up with that? The guy who doesn't drink.
Yeah, wow, right? Or
Yeah.
smoke weed.
Yeah, I don't do either thing. And yet,
And yet you figured out shotgunning a jelly donut.
if there's a way to get more sugar out of something into your system quickly, I will figure it out. I'll solve that Rubik's Cube.
I don't have this problem with them because I know you have to go in knowing that that it is full of something. You know what I mean? If you're carrying around a glass that doesn't have anything in it, you're going to carry it differently than if you're carrying around a glass full of water, right?
Right.
You have to treat a donut that is filled differently than you treat a donut that is not filled.
You're right. I do wildly gesture with donuts when I'm eating.
It's
them.
really weird. I've been meaning to talk to you about this.
I talk with my hands. My hands are Italian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the only part of you?
Yeah, that's it.
No,
They were
it's too bad.
transplanted. Well, sorry.
Oh, geez. I didn't know about your hand transplants.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They look totally natural.
Thanks. I'm doing a hand bit right now for everybody.
Yeah. If everyone could see this bit Hal's doing, it's amazing.
So good.
There's jelly all over the wall, but it's a
Yeah.
great bit.
That's fine. Now it looks like the bathroom is CBGB's.
So if we're going to pick the best donut, we haven't talked about how we're going to do this criteria wise.
Yes.
I like that we're sort of naturally falling into the categories.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to pull one from each of the categories.
Okay.
And, we sort of talked about this. Well, let's get back to jelly donuts in a minute. Or filled donuts to that category.
Okay.
Let's go back just a minute. You mentioned the apple fritter. Let's let our first category then be donuts that aren't donuts.
Okay.
How's that? You've got the bear crawl. Is that a thing?
You ever go to a bear crawl through the forest?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
just
yeah.
Go hang out at a bunch. By the time you get to the last bear,
You're so full of honey.
yeah, and so mauled. Oh my goodness.
A bear claw,
Yes.
a cruller,
Mhm.
which is basically just a donut that looks like a tractor tire.
Yes.
And the fritter, the apple fritter.
Yeah.
Are there others in that category? The bar, the one that pretends to be an eclair,
Or like a maple bar.
but is not filled in the middle. I never swear on this show. Those maple bars can go themselves.
You know what? I agree with you. I actually agree with you 100%.
If I see this long bar, then there's no hole. The top is completely covered and there's nothing in the middle of it.
Why are you fooling us?
Yeah.
Just be round.
Yeah.
Why do you have to be like,
Be round and have a hole then.
yeah.
I'm going to bite into you thinking, oh man, there's going to be something delicious in the middle. And there's not.
Yeah. You know what's in the middle?
Dough.
That's right. Your favorite thing.
That's true. I do love dough.
You know, I bet you if it was just a solid bar of flour, you would eat that. You could call it an old fashioned maple bar. It doesn't have anything. It's just actually just a bar of ivory soap.
Let me know when you're done.
I have 5 more minutes. I think of the fruit. There are no other fruit ones that are particularly coming to mind.
I'm totally happy. I like a cruller. I think that tire, that like weird tire tread that it has, like it's fun. It gives it a lot of crispy bits. It's not a hill I need to die on if you're a huge apple fritter fan. I like apple fritters.
I like that they have a crunchy texture to them.
Mm-hmm.
They have that great cinnamon kind of spiciness to them.
Mm-hmm.
The apple is delicious. If it's done well, I like it. I know it's not going to win.
Though, just to give it a contender within its own category, though, donuts that aren't donuts. And we talked about this, I believe, on our episode that I didn't remember doing.
Yes.
What do you think of the Munchkin? Donut holes.
Oh, I do like donuts.
I love donut holes. They're not messy. They're
the perfect amount.
It's the perfect amount of donut, whether you want one or a box of them.
Yeah. What is your least favorite Munchkin?
My least favorite Munchkin, the mayor. Oh, right.
You're very political this episode.
Yeah, I know. I'm really getting into politics.
You're really getting into the politics of Oz.
I don't know what my least favorite is. I think I like, because aren't there even some that are filled? There's some teeny little filled ones
when we
too,
were kids.
right?
We were kids. It was like,
oh, it was just a
chocolate
powdered
glaze,
one,
regular glaze, powdered, and cinnamon.
Yeah,
and there may have been sort of a plain one. I feel like the most popular was the chocolate, then the regular glazed, then the powdered sugar, then the cinnamon.
I liked the cinnamon
one. Yeah, of course. You
Yeah.
like old fashions.
Yeah. What is wrong with you and not liking old fashioned things? You've seen my apartment. There's nothing in my apartment from after 1910 except the internet.
So why don't I get you an old Sears Roebuck catalog? You can eat that instead, and then you can have an old fashioned. How would that be?
Look, as long as my donuts are prepared on an iron stove, wood and iron, that's how you make a donut, see?
My donut will be here in 6 to 8 weeks. It costs 5 cents.
All right, so what's coming out?
I would take Munchkins.
You'll take Munchkins over the
Munchkins
are
pretty
of the non-donut donuts.
Yes,
Munchkins are the ones that are going to go to the finals here.
Yes.
Now let's talk about filled donuts again.
I'm happy
Moving back
taking
to this.
the Bavarian cream on your behalf.
You don't think that?
I'm not a huge jelly donut fan. I think they're fine.
Because you don't know how to put your finger over the hole?
I don't know how to put my finger over the hole, but also that's all about the jelly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the composed bite.
That's
it feels
true.
like the composed bite is not as big a deal as what is in it. Because like the powdered sugar is kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wonder if anybody.
The Bavarian cream though doesn't have the powdered sugar.
But it has the chocolate. That's why I'm saying that the Bavarian
chocolate.
cream is the one I would take.
Yeah.
It's a composed bite. You've got the cream, you've got the dough, you got the chocolate.
Right.
As opposed to like, let's just put some powdered sugar on it. That just feels more haphazard to me.
I feel like most of the time powdered sugar is for presentational purposes.
Right.
Where you look at a thing and you go, well, this looks boring.
And also like, oh, I hope I'm not wearing black when I eat this. Or anything that is not white.
Right. I would love to go to a donut shop that everything's covered in powdered sugar and the whole shop is blacklit. Right? You just come in wearing black, everything's lit by black lights, and it's just these glowing donuts and their powdered sugar remnants all over everyone's rave clothes.
It's like a CSI pop-up donut shop.
Well, now that's making gross things in my head.
Oh, well. What could I do?
Yeah, all right.
That's my function in
all right,
life.
so the Bavarian cream is going on as the filled donut to the finals.
Yes.
What other categories are there?
I think let's talk about I think we need to talk about the glaze. I think there are 3.
There's the plain glazed.
There's I think
the classic Krispy Kreme style.
Let's talk about classic donuts. We have classic donut, donuts that aren't a donut, and filled donuts, and then let's let them fight it out.
Great.
I
feel like you've already decided that whoever wins this last category is going to win because you don't like Bavarian cream and you don't think Munchkins are going to win.
in my mind, it would be the traditional donut would be the winner, but I'm open to discussing it for sure. I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll pick the best traditional donut, and then we'll figure out this answer once and for all. And
finally,
if you disagree, too bad.
Well, let's take a little break then. Okay. Hey, Hal.
Yeah.
How do you take your tea?
Boba.
You sound like Fred Flintstone.
Barney, I want some boba.
Hey, Hal, how do you take your tea?
With boba, Barney.
Are you tired of trying to keep up with the news cycle?
Is bad stuff happening too fast for you to process?
Don't you wish there was an easy way to find out about only the most important info you need?
Hi, we're Lisa.
And Emily. Why don't you try our podcast, Baby Geniuses?
On each episode of our podcast, we discuss a weird Wikipedia page such as
Flatulence humor,
Clamato,
Catalan witches,
Slippy the Microsoft Office helper,
death during consensual sex,
and the talking mongoose.
We ask each other stupid questions.
If you got a packet with like 300 seeds in it, what kind of plant would you choose the seeds to be?
That felt like you were assigned to ask me a question and there were certain words you weren't allowed to use.
We talk about Martha Stewart, her pony, and other celebrity horse news. Ben Chunch.
Every other week on Maximum Fun.
Baby Geniuses.
Hey, this is Griffin McElroy,
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
and we've got a new podcast on Maximum Fun called Wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's an enthusiast podcast where we talk about things that we're excited about and things that you're excited about.
Things like overalls,
24-hour Sudafed,
the grand prize game,
the fact that wombats use their butts to kill predators,
the soundtrack to the movie Dick Tracy.
the beach potion we call Bud Light Lime.
All these things and more every Wednesday, and we'll also talk about things that you're excited about.
You can find us on MaximumFun.org or iTunes or wherever. I don't know, just search Wonderful. Google it, you'll probably get there.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk classic donuts.
Yes.
First of all, I know what your answer is going to be. What do you call a donut that isn't a cake donut?
It's a yeast donut.
We always called them glazed donuts just because growing up at Krispy Kreme, which was the one that we had where I grew up.
Yes.
That was what it was called. It was called just a regular plain glazed donut.
Yes.
So we called, for listeners, I hope you know the difference. You've been listening to us talk about donuts for a while. Between the super dense, which is what the Munchkins mostly are. The Munchkins are cake donuts.
Except for the glaze, the plain glaze. That is
Right.
that's like a yeast bit.
Right. But those are all regular, old fashioned cake donuts.
Right.
So there's a cake donut, which is the heavier,
Denser.
generally smaller and look drier.
Yes.
The yeast donuts are the ones that have more air in the middle. I think they're a lot sweeter and they are usually covered in a glaze or a sugar or a coating of some kind.
I think they succumb. I think a yeast donut succumbs a little bit more to what you put on it than a cake donut does because
Sure.
it's so dense that the cake is overwhelmingly part of it. I know that there are people like my father, when they're having actual cake, if you give my father a slice of actual cake, he will give you back the actual cake part with all of the icing removed.
He just does the icing.
That's what he
It's
eats.
funny. Your dad and I would be like the Sprats then because I don't like a lot of icing. I like a minimal layer of icing.
Yes.
Or frosting. And I like the cake. if I wanted frosting, I would just grab a spoon. I want the cake flavor.
Yes.
Which is why, to me, going into this particular battle regular donut,
Yes.
I feel like the winner in my mind, I don't know. We've got to weigh all of our options, but the winner in my mind will be an old fashioned donut likely with a chocolate coating on top. For me, it'll be an old fashioned donut with something, cause I know you'd like to have it dressed up with some, she's going to look pretty.
Thank you.
And she's going to have, some sort of frosting or glaze, maybe even a sprinkle or a nut or a coconut or something on top. But I think that you have to start with that base. You mentioned that the yeast donuts will sort of just soak up whatever flavor you put on top of them. And that becomes the predominant thing that you're tasting. I think it's got to be an old fashioned underneath.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
The reason being that a cake donut is so overwhelmingly cake.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want it to be somewhat of a vehicle to deliver the other flavors. And I know that goes against what I said about jelly donuts because jelly donuts, sometimes people will just have the jelly and then not eat the donut.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I say that. Like,
Those people are wrong.
Exactly. I won't pick the frosting off of a donut and then not eat the donut. I want the donut as part of it.
Right.
That's why I like yeast a little bit more.
See,
it's less to work through, and it's more, to me, that the bite is more even.
Maybe the places you're thinking of are different than the places I'm thinking of. Let me, cause I don't eat donuts regularly.
Right.
So the version of it that's in my mind is a cake donut versus like a Krispy Kreme donut, which are lighter than air. There's practically nothing to them.
Yeah.
With the pressure that you would use to, like, with less pressure than it would take to change the shape of a wad of peanut butter, you could flatten one of these things entirely.
Oh, no. No.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
Now, if you were talking like a Winchell's donut or some of these other donut chains, and Dunkin' Donuts is guilty of the same thing. I feel like Dunkin' Donuts glazed donuts are mostly air on the inside. There are donut places here that are yeast donuts like you're talking about, where they have, let me ask you this, a yeast donut, if I press on it and remove my finger, does it spring back? Your version of a yeast donut?
Probably not. I will tell you one of the best.
See, that sounds like a Krispy Kreme to me, and that is, I'm not a fan.
I'll tell you what, one of the best yeast donuts that I've ever had is Randy's Donuts, which is maybe 10, 15 minutes from here. If you've never seen the iconic donut before, it's where Iron Man is hanging out in Iron Man 2.
That's right, I forgot.
When Nick Fury finds him.
Yeah.
That's Randy's Donuts down in Manchester near LAX. So it's just it won't fall, but you can move it around a little bit. It's got a little bit of give to it. It doesn't spring right back. It doesn't feel like memory foam. That's what I feel like. I'm eating memory foam when I have cake donut, but denser, like the really hard memory foam that doesn't actually give. I want it to have a little bit of softness to it. I don't want the cake. I want the topping.
But you want a
to be the thing that
substantial
crumbles.
donut. I have to have a donut be substantial. There's a good reason that when they make donuts, the prepackaged ones, those are cake donuts. When they make munchkins, those are cake donuts.
Yeah, they pack better.
Yeah, because they're more substantial. Like, if we're talking about the best donut, I feel like you're talking about the one that is the least donut.
I disagree with that.
Well, look, we're going to have to figure something out here, as we are the Supreme Court of donuts as of today.
What do you think a Bavarian cream is?
I think a Bavarian cream is
it's a yeast donut that's filled.
Yeah, but it's a denser yeast donut.
Yeah, but you can have a denser yeast donut.
That's what I just asked you. If you're going to have a denser yeast donut, and you're like, no, if I smush it, it stays.
Well, no,
a good yeast donut, if I press it with my thumb and take my thumb away, bounces back to where it was.
I almost want to go get a donut right now to see if it does that. Cause I've never grabbed it and pressed into it. I eat it within, it's gone in 60 seconds, man. This donut. My favorite donut on the planet is, I like a frosted donut.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because I can hold it on the bottom.
Chocolate frosted.
I like a vanilla frosted.
Oh man, this is going to be a long
vanilla
episode.
Frosting is delicious. And I love chocolate. I do love chocolate. But vanilla frosting, that hard shell vanilla frosting is a special joy.
Okay. That not a lot of people share.
That we don't have it very often.
Mm-hmm.
On many things.
For
Chocolate
a reason.
Is on everything. This is, I think the donut is vanilla's time to shine. I really believe that. I do. I do believe that.
See, I always reach for a chocolate donut. I didn't realize that we had such differing views on donuts.
I didn't either. I thought we might be in lockstep on this.
You know what? Here's what we're going to have to do, Hal.
What's that?
Because our word is final on this, and it seems like we are in a bit of disagreement about this.
Yes.
It sounds like we're going to have to Frankenstein together a combination version of the traditional donut that is going to go into the final round against the Munchkin and the Bavarian cream.
Okay, here's what we do. First, we'll take a cake donut and we'll combine it with a garbage can.
Okay. Then we'll take one of your yeast donuts. And remember when I was talking about putting my thumb on it?
Uh-huh.
We're going to put Wile E. Coyote's anvil on it.
No, don't. That'll ruin it. Then I can't. Then I'll have to blow into it to reinflate it so I can eat it.
Or it'll just walk away sounding like an accordion.
This is going to make me sound like an absolute garbage person, but I love the idea that I could take a yeast donut and mash it up into a ball and eat it like that.
It's a cake donut then. It's a cake donut.
Because the cake donut will flake all over.
Is that what this comes down to? Is that what this comes down to, Hal? That you can crumple a yeast donut and shove the whole thing in your mouth at once?
It's not what it comes down to, but it's something I thought of that made me very happy. I got legitimately happy at the thought of like, ooh, like I could shape it into whatever I want and eat it.
Oh, they're not Play-Doh nuts. Pretty proud of that one too. Where do you sit on jelly donuts? Well, right in the middle if you want a treat. All right, we gotta figure this out. All right. I'm willing to concede to your garbage yeast donuts.
Okay.
If we have a solidly, a dense enough yeast donut.
Quality yeast.
Like a quality yeast donut. Like a Randy's or a Winchell's or one of these good donuts with a hole in the middle.
Waiting for a good donut.
Oh man, we are terrible.
You ever wait for a good donut?
Oh, all day. You know, the thing is, 2.5 hours, good donut never shows up. Oh, man. That play is a misnomer. Of course, it's not called Good Donut Arrives.
No, it's not.
If it is a sufficiently dense yeast donut, and I don't think I'm alone in saying this, and it is topped with chocolate frosting.
I will concede that it should be a well-made yeast donut. I think whatever we pick should be the best version of it.
Right.
There's always going to be a crappy version and a great
Sure.
version. I will also concede the chocolate to you because I know that is more popular.
Mm-hmm.
I will always hold highest in my heart vanilla frosting on a yeast donut with rainbow sprinkles.
Ooh. What do you think about what flavor is the pink? Like the traditional Homer Simpson donut.
I think that is
with
generally, I feel like if I go into a donut shop in general, it's a strawberry,
is it
frosting.
Strawberry?
But when they put out the Simpsons donuts, the Homer donuts
it's
for
just
the movie,
sugar flavored.
They were basically like a vanilla frosted.
Yeah. See, that to me is just,
And they were great.
I know, but that to me is just extra sugar.
Do you like, just as a compromise, and I'm just floating this, a vanilla with like a chocolate like zebra pattern on it?
Not huge on that.
Do you like a black and white cookie?
Yeah, but I only eat the chocolate half.
I only eat the vanilla half.
Oh, look at us.
Let's go get 2 black and white cookies.
We only need 1.
No, I want a whole cookie. Do you realize that you can make my dreams come true? We can make them. Talk about Frankensteining.
Oh, man.
I don't normally curse on this show, but fuck donuts. Let's go get 2 black and white cookies. Let's cut them in half.
Yeah.
You get a whole chocolate cookie. I'll get a whole vanilla cookie.
Why don't we just go and get you a vanilla cookie and me a chocolate? You know what? You're right.
They don't have one.
You're right. They don't have cookies that just says black cookie.
We'll get the 2 cookies.
Or white cookie.
We'll go to a lab, have them cut in half. We'll go to JPL. Bobek could cut them in half.
Yeah.
Using space lasers.
Ooh.
And then
put them in that vacuum thing he showed us.
Yeah, to clean them.
Ooh.
It'll suck all the moisture out, and then it'll taste like an old fashioned.
All right. So we've got, you're a real jerk. So we've got a chocolate frosted, yeast donut
versus Munchkins.
Versus
a Bavarian cream.
Can you which is basically the exact same thing as the traditional donut we selected. It's just the Bavarian cream filled version.
Yes.
Now, that said, I didn't mean to interrupt. You said, can you hear?
I was just going to say, can you hear all the people listening to the show pulling out their hair and throwing their listening devices into a river right now?
Why?
Because they'll disagree with them. Like, how could you forget the blah, blah, blah? Or you didn't give blah, blah, blah a chance. And they may be right, but they're about to be wrong because we're going to issue a decision.
And I'm pretty sure we know what the decision is.
Okay.
Because when you think of if someone said draw a donut.
Without lifting your pen from the paper.
Yeah.
in one line, draw.
Well,
have you ever done one of those things where it's like,
without lifting your pen from the paper?
yeah, you have to it's like a challenge. You have to draw a thing.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the
draw a
cranium
cube.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that if we were playing Pictionary or Don't Lift Your Finger from the Paper or whatever that show's called,
Sure.
I think you would draw a donut with a hole in it.
I agree.
So I think that our ultimate winner, we got some good shout outs to the others,
Yes.
but our ultimate winner is this Franken donut that we've created, which is a yeast donut, but a dense yeast donut with chocolate frosting.
People of the world, I don't want Mark to hear this. So I'm going to talk real quiet. This guy thinks that a yeast donut with chocolate frosting is somehow like a Frankenstein thing that needs to be invented, but it already exists at a bunch of donut shops and they're delicious and you should go get one. And I mean, that's the great, there are so many different donuts. What is a donut? What isn't a donut?
Hey, Hal, what are you doing in there?
Nothing.
Okay. I'm gonna make us some orange pico.
How do you take your decisions?
Asked and answered.
Asked and answered. Yeast chocolate frosted donut. You are the winner. Best donut there is.
That's right.
Adam Burns, thank you for this topic. It is settled, but there's so many others. So we want to hear from you. You can email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or come to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast.
Or check us out on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. Thanks as always to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song respectively.
Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thank you to you, our listeners. You know what, y'all? Thanks to you, Hal and I are going to go get a donut right now, and we are very excited about this.
Oh, for Mark Gagliardi of Hal Loveland.
For Hal Loveland, I'm Mark Gagliardi, and don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.